The next two poems are about love's intoxicating collaboration on the senses and the body. Both are filtered through mostly nature, and the first is mostly healthy nostalgia. The last dahlia. It is no sad thing. The last dahlia before the flood is the lord of indiscretion. Its petals preen in the sun, as when a storm takes up the wings of the crushed blackbird and make them dance, wet and wind, igniting the body. Even as I take stem between fingers, cut it loose from the earth, watch the stem shrink and grow supple in water like my tongue chasing the tongue of the first boy I kissed to its heat. It is this body at its limits I press into books, whose musk is the song hiding in my first love's breath that could awoken God. No sad thing, this body at the end of its season, who won't fear surrender, easier to grip in two-cupped poems than my own heart is. And this one's not as healthy. Dear. The winds pulse bisects the air, and I am insect-prone, loam salted, memory only fastened to prettier paradox, your body without impulse, zenith, who is sparrow bait, the you or the you in me, my compassless knife of snow, my tender excavation, so intuitive it's shrapnel. And I've got 3 poems left that are mostly phrastic. This first one is a dramatic monologue filtered through the protagonist of Hans Christian Andersen tale about the matchstick girl. And so for those of you who don't know it, the girl's poor, she sells matches, and she recounts her slow acceptance of death, basically to her kind, I guess imagined kindly deceased grandma. So anyway, if that makes sense. Little match girl. Hard to go home lately. The house, a small orb clung with December, cracks stuffed with rags. Nights I lay thinking of matches, live animals suddenly waking. One match for a penny, it's his mantra. At this price, everyone will want a piece of their short deaths. Last time I came home without selling, the back of his hand escaped with a piece of my mouth. Lately dinner is ideas of bread swilled in my mouth like warmed butter. Nights I listen for my stomach hunting, when arching my back makes the blood rush to my head, hunger retreat to the back of my throat. Windows expel burnt amber, trees full of candles, every window but ours. What can they expect for a penny? Stars seem to be the small promises beyond purchase, beautiful things fluttering in my brain like burst vessels or angels' wings. Sulfur hits my nostrils in a dirty kiss, growing very tired. One day you will take me where flowers bloom instead of hunger. Eyes closing, and this last flame rolls through my fingers, amaryllis, the shape of your face. Afterthought. If I twine loss with what loses, I get disappearing. Bones of doves who once ate the evening's marrow and became stars, ate until their hearts stopped and recited the wild strawberries of their stopping. And these birds shone like elevators climbing a shaft toward the indelibility of my heart rejecting itself, the perfumed light of its image flying raw. The sunset's dialect escapes in hushed drawls. Shh, shh, a triptych. And I'm going to close with a poem that addresses Marcel Duchamp's Oil on Cardboard called Nude Descending a Staircase, #1, December 1911. And the nude appears in the picture. It's one of 2 in a cramped space. She retires to herself in a state of cubist fracture. And so, and of course in the second nude, if you've seen it, you know, she sort of is more triumphant, perhaps more upright. And so I'm interested lately, maybe always have been, in the male influence of power as a catalyst for feminine fracture. So this woman in pieces has a body at this point only faintly referential. So I'm interested in how the male force in a woman's life is intentionally or unintentionally violent. And that a woman's beauty, though rendered by a man's power, may be fortunately or unfortunately more beautiful for it. So this one's New Descending the Staircase, number 1, December 1911. Were the shoe cuts deep into the ankle, or was it the ankle torn apart by its own functional sweetness? Ankle-dipping Joyce's woman up the cinders of her own desire, stares where she spills her mosaic and calls it a shame, or beauty bursting like a startled flock of birds. My eyes tear what can puncture, oleander in the moment the moon spills. These are her arms, these birds that try to know the faint tendencies of the capable and vulnerable and call them wings. Her shoulders, field of milkweed crisping in the hands of the sun. Her chest a poppy one buries one's face in to sleep. Outside, blackbirds chirp in rain. Wet-winged things just hatching. And like their incantations stain the skies with puncture, he must have known her body's beauty and let it blacken her cheek with longing. Come, there is a woman, head bent like a saint contemplating the bird nest of her dismemberment. And this dismember is what startles us. She cries over it, like the worn, sung, and shredding thing that it is. Love letter torn at its center, pretty O, we call a wound. Thank you.